Imagine this. You sign a contract, you shake hands, you think the deal is totally done, only to find out that the entire thing was built on a huge shared mistake. Well, today we're going to unpack a really fascinating legal case where a done deal turned out to be anything but. I mean, just think about it for a second. You and someone else agree on something, you both sign the paperwork, but you're both completely wrong about the single most important fact. So, should that contract still hold up? That is the big question we're digging into today. All right, so our story starts with what seems like a totally simple transaction. It's a case called Grist versus Bailey. All it involves is a buyer, a seller, and a house. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But trust me, the details are what make this whole thing so interesting.
Okay, so let's break down the deal itself. Mr. Grist agrees to buy a house from Mr. Bailey for only £850. Now, that price, it seems crazy low, right? And there was a very specific reason for that. Both men were 100% convinced that the house had a sitting tenant, basically someone with a legal right to live there for the rest of their life. And that one assumption, it absolutely crushed the property's immediate value.
So, they had their agreements, they had their super low price, and they both thought they knew exactly what the deal was. But, reality had other plans. A huge plot twist was coming that neither one of them could have possibly predicted.
And this is where everything falls apart. The belief that drove their entire negotiation was that a tenant was living in that house. But the reality? The tenant had actually passed away before they even signed the contract. The house was completely empty. Their most fundamental assumption was just wrong.
And we're not talking about a small difference here. The financial stakes were massive. With the house being vacant, its actual market value wasn't £850. No, it was £2,250. That's nearly 3 times what they'd agreed on. This one little mistake completely changed the value of the entire deal.
So as you can probably guess, this discovery just threw the whole contract into total chaos, and it landed them both right in front of a judge. And now the court was facing a really tricky problem.
The judge had to answer this exact question. When two people make a deal, but they're both working from the same critical error, is it really fair to force them to go through with it? Does the law have some kind of way out for them?
Well, it turns out this kind of situation has a name in contract law. It's called a common mistake. And it's not when just one person gets it wrong. It's specifically when both parties are operating under the exact same false belief about something that is absolutely central to their agreement.
So, faced with this classic example of a common mistake, the court had to make a call. And luckily for everyone involved, the law actually has a playbook for dealing with situations just like this. The judge's decision really boiled down to one key idea. The mistake about the tenant, it wasn't just some small detail. He said it was so fundamental that it made the quality of the thing being sold, a vacant house versus an occupied one, radically different. They weren't just wrong about a feature, they were wrong about the very essence of what was being bought and sold.
And with that, the court made its decision. The original contract for £850 was set aside. Done. It was essentially declared void. The law basically said it would be completely unfair to enforce a deal built on such a deep, shared misunderstanding. This case actually helped create a pretty simple test for situations like this. First, was the mistake shared? Did they both make the same error? Yep. Second, was the mistake fundamental to the deal itself? Absolutely. And third, would it be just plain unfair to enforce it? You bet. Grist v. Bailey ticked every single box.
So, okay, this is an old case. Why should we care about it today? Because the principle it stands for is maybe more relevant than ever. Think of it like a crucial safety net that's built right into the world of contracts.
The big takeaway here is really powerful. The law basically acknowledges that people make mistakes. It provides an escape hatch for when a shared error is so big that it completely changes the bargain. It's there to protect people from getting locked into a deal based on a reality that, as it turns out, never even existed.
Let's think about a more modern example. Imagine you and a seller agree on a price for what you both think is a rare vintage car. Later, you find out it's just a really high-quality replica. Since you were both mistaken about that fundamental quality, vintage versus replica, this exact same legal idea could kick in and let you set the contract aside.
And all of this leaves us with one final and I think really important question to chew on. The case of Grist versus Bailey is a powerful reminder that underneath every single deal, there are layers of assumptions. So, the next time you're signing an agreement, big or small, it's probably worth asking yourself, what are the crucial things that we're both just assuming are true? And what happens if we're both wrong?